You're away? Jesus. You've heard enough from you. Nobody talks to so shabby. I got shit. Just don't even blame it on the gun. I was really fortunate with that gun. It was 10 gauge, 3.5 inch. It's pretty close. There was a tree right here that took up. Well, I had 17 pellets. I'm changing it to whites. You can see the fence. For 200, you can see the size pumpkins. As I'm changing the shoots on the tree, branches start falling out. It's even when you buy a bike.
Let's call to order the March 2013 Town Board meeting for the Town of Shandaken. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Certainly glad you all could make it to see who wins the stone crushing bid tonight. Can I have a roll call, please, Joyce?
Board Member Bartlett? Yes. Board Member Bernstein?
Here.
Board Member Higley?
Here.
Board Member George.
Here.
Supervisor Sam.
Here. I'd like to entertain a motion for the approval of previously board minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I abstain as I was present. Supervisor's financial report. February 2013. Portion of general tax warrant, $500,000. Balance of general tax warrant, $736,832. Rick, can you please keep it to a minimum?
Yeah.
Thanks. Ambulance fees, $11,444.41. Phoenicia Library electric reimbursement, $103.28. Police fees, $45. Justice fees, $14,140. Town clerk fees, $69.10. Zoning fees, $250. Building permit fees, $570. Dog fees, $10. Dog licenses, $167.50. Registrar fees, $30. Health reimbursement, $156.50. Fuel reimbursement, $1,085.76. Mariner Towers, $762.20. Forest tax, $475.80. And Pine Hill water rents, $5,487.83. For a total of $1,271,629.38. Communications. Month of March 2013. Scenic byway. The town has been in discussion of this matter for a few years, and the town board tonight will vote as to whether to agree or not with the other communities that have already signed on to this management plan. The crux of discussion on this pertains to the loss of home rule issues and any infringements in property rights within each of the communities. Shandaken is the single largest geographic entity involved in this venture. We have held several public meetings and hearings on this subject, and we have done our best to have language included to clarify that there will be no impediment to our ability to govern ourselves as a community. Regardless of where our votes may lie tonight, know that each of us looks forward to continuing working on our intercommunity relationships. We will continue to support our neighbors in their endeavors whenever asked, understanding that we all live and work in the similarly unique and beautiful environment that makes up the Central Catskills High Peaks region, and we better persevere through unity rather than division. Court. Due to certain legal restrictions and obligations concerning the processing of tickets issued by New York State troopers, our town, like others throughout the county and state, needs to hire a special prosecutor to try these cases. The town anticipates this to be a fiscal wash, as fines generated should offset the cost of the prosecutors, but this must be done in order for the town to meet all of its legal obligations. We are hiring 2 gentlemen who have the legal expertise and background in these types of cases. Having performed these duties for other communities, the Ulster County District Attorney's Office, and in their own private practices. They will be working an alternating schedule, which will provide the proper coverage for the court, as well as providing internal backup if one is not available for a certain date. Personnel. We have the need to fill 2 positions within the town. First, the town would like to graciously thank Joseph Rotella Sr. for his 21 years of service to the town. We wish he and his wife Rose, who has also been a great asset for us recently and over many years, a happy and healthy retirement. Good luck, Joe. Also, due to Sue Christiana's move to the interim highway secretary, we have the need to fill her old position within the assessor's office. We were notified by Ulster County, who validates our job titles and applicants, that the assessor's position is listed as a competitive class position and mandates a civil service exam be taken. Anyone interested in the position must take the exam given by Ulster County. The next exam for this position is coming on April 6th of this year. Applications are available online through the county and are due this Wednesday, March 6th. The town will be hiring an interim assessor's clerk, awaiting the outcome of the test and applicants. Pending the outcome of other issues pertaining to personnel decisions, we will be revisiting many of these appointments over the next few months. Highway. We have resolutions tonight to hire a company to crush gravel for the town at the gravel bank. We have done this in the recent past, but response to Irene diminished much of the stockpile. Due to the fire prior to last month's meeting, the town will be replacing 2 of the vehicles, the pickup and the 10-wheel dump. The third vehicle was due to be retired and not in need of replacement. We did receive the insurance funds for the vehicles lost, but those monies are not enough for complete cost of replacement. So the town will be looking into bonding the cost of the dump truck over the next few years in order to avoid a major tax increase for this year's and coming year's budgets. Other issues. We have other resolutions tonight dealing with the gang task force, urgent, operating in partnership between the Ulster County municipalities and the Ulster Sheriff's Office. The resolution tonight is to allow the county to disperse $5,000 due to the town police. These funds will help us replace vests and other equipment due to be replaced in our police department. The attorney previously representing us in the town of Lexington in an ongoing litigation concerning Gooding Road in Bushnellsville and Highmount has asked to step down, and we're hiring our attorney, Paul Keller, to continue our defense in this action. Town Clerk's Office would like to start accepting credit and debit cards as a convenience for our citizens. This will not cost the town anything, and any costs associated with the processing will be paid by the citizen. Those fees by contract will be 2.45% or a $3 minimum. Also, the town will once again be declaring April as Parkinson's Disease Awareness Month. This small gesture is our way of broadening awareness of Parkinson's and the continuing efforts to find a cure for this debilitating disease. Gun control. We know that many in attendance tonight are looking to continue the discussion of a resolution adopted by this board at our last monthly meeting. There was nothing on our agenda for the continuance of this discussion. We ask that interested parties allow us the courtesy of dealing with the issues before us tonight so we can address any further comment during our open public comment period following action on the resolutions tonight. And finally, recreation. Tonight we have David Gilmore from Gilmore Planning, who was hired under a grant from the Hudson River Valley Greenway to assist our Parks and Recreation Board in the creation of a Parks and Recreation Master Plan. Tonight's presentation is a draft and open for public comment. We are looking forward to the presentation, and please understand that the document is rather large, so we do not have hard copies immediately available for distribution tonight. But it has been posted on the town website, shandaken.us, and the town Facebook page. If you would like a hard copy, please contact the town clerk's office to make arrangements. In order to preserve the time, the board would like to keep comments to a minimum at this meeting, as we will be accepting comments over the coming month. I'm sure Mr. Gilmore and the Parks and Recreation Board will be able to better address any concerns that may arise through a final draft following the presentation tonight. Comments will be received over the next month through regular mail to P.O. Box 134 Shandaken, or through my email at shandakensupervisor@yahoo.com. And that's what I've got.
I've got a couple announcements. I'd like to say, hey Joe, there's 27 days left of trout season. Also, the Phoenicia Library is having a Raise the Roof fundraiser, used book and craft sale. There's going to be 2,000 used books. There's going to be crafts made in Shandaken, leather, wood, jewelry, cloth, glass, just to name a few. This will be held at the Phoenicia Fish and Game Association Clubhouse, Route 28, between Mount Tremper and Phoenicia, on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, March 15th to the 17th. For any further information on that, be 688-7811. That's the number to the library.
The caregiver support group meetings will be starting up in Phoenicia, beginning on March 14th, every second and fourth Thursday at the Phoenicia Firehouse on Route 214, 6:30 to 7:45. It's free and welcome to all, and it's sponsored by the Ulster County Office for the Aging and the Jewish Federation.
And before we start Mr. Gilmore's presentation, I'd also like to make an announcement. We do know that there's an audio problem tonight, and digital customers may be receiving the audio, but analog may not. We are trying to rectify the situation, and as soon as we can, this video will replay. So please bear with us.
It'll be on YouTube tomorrow also.
It'll be on YouTube tomorrow. With that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Gilmore.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board. Nice to see you again. I think last time I was here was probably about, 8 months ago under the Creating Healthy Places project for Cornell cooperative extension when we were talking about that project. And but tonight I'm here to talk to you about your recreation plan. That is a project funded under a grant from the New York State Greenway, and this is basically a recreation master plan. It's a 10-year plan. You'll remember that back in spring of 2011, you reorganized your recreation board and charged the town of Shandaken Parks and Recreation Board with powers and duties to help preserve, promote, maintain, and expand the recreation offerings in the town of Shandaken. And in addition, you provided the board with various duties, such as to discuss the course of action regarding recreational activity offerings of the town, including summer recreation programs and other activities sponsored by the town, look at areas for expansion of recreational activities within town, compile detailed information to promote the town and its recreation offerings. Of course, recreation is a major part of your heritage and economic base. Sure, you would have a hard time without tourism, and of course you have a defining natural resource-based economy. But also to create and review, every 5 years to review it, but to create a Parks and Recreation comprehensive plan, or essentially recreation master plan. So this evening I'm here to present, I'll try to give you a pretty quick thumbnail overview of that recreation master plan. And I think those are basically some of the duties of the recreation board, but of course to coordinate actions like finding grants and making recommendations for funding and supporting Parks and Recreation, as well as also within the purview of the Parks and Recreation Board. So what I'm presenting tonight is the 10-year Recreation Master Plan. It's basically a resource plan and a guide for the development of parks and recreation and services within the community, and of course in conjunction with the surrounding region over the next 10 years. So basically, it's a guide for recreation. And I think, as I alluded to, in my estimation, your great natural heritage, your tourism is about recreation. So I think this is also a community development plan, but it's an economic development plan in many senses, because it thinks about ways that you can not only benefit the wellness of the community and the health of the community, but also support appropriate development and expansion of the economic tourism base. So I'll just make a quick overview of some of the sections of the plan so that you have a sense of what's in it. But basically the guiding actions that sort of infuse this plan, that run throughout this plan, are to assess and prioritize necessary and proposed projects. For example, what are the notions for sustaining, enhancing things like ball playing fields, trails within the community, the parks that you have. But I was also, I think, as we set up this plan and consulted the community, and by the way, there was a community survey in, I think it was in early spring of 2012, that there was a community survey right before the project started that was administered by the Parks and Recreation Board. And kudos to this board, and you know, the committee members are committed, and it's not every board that can put together a survey and get it out to all of the postal patrons in the community. So I think there were over 2,000 surveys mailed, and there was about 280 returned, with a response rate of about 12%. So that community survey was one of the guiding sources of information in the community, in addition to, as I came on board as the consultant for this project, performed a number of interviews and background research to advance the project. But and just in terms of also the guiding notions of the plan, though, besides assessing and prioritizing the necessary and proposed projects for the community, framing notions were, there's limited resources in this community to advance recreation, so be smart, invest wisely, plan and strategize, and this is what that document is. It's at least a framework, a roadmap, a guide for how the community might, as resources are available, put or advance parks and recreation within the community. But also to sustain and highlight existing parks, to use signage to help people find, enjoy, and interpret their park environments and the surrounding environments, to advance active transportation, and also to recognize that we have this fantastic natural heritage of the Catskill Park that imbues the community and surrounds us and provides for the basis of much of the recreation that goes on in the community, whether it be hunting and fishing, canoeing, bicycling, making walks to parks, enjoying your parks. I can say that whether you're a kid in the Phoenicia Playground Park or you're at Glenbrook Park, the surroundings are part of the park's user's experience, in my estimation. And then finally, as I mentioned, I think to help secure financial resources and technical assistance that can help the community advance the plan, such as through grantsmanship and other ideas. And so these are all topics that are carried out in this about 50-page plan. And I also wanted to mention that Heather Roberts, the Parks and Recreation Board chairperson, is here tonight as well. So the sections of the plan, the introduction really discusses some of the existing context, like the state lands and the unit management plans within the different sections of the Catskill Park, discusses the rural character and the tourism economy, and also talks about the history and culture of the community. Then there's a population section, and use that population section basically as a way to understand the community context, the demographics, the population characteristics, of course. You have an aging population like any community. You're a rural community. About 17% of the community is youth. And also, of course, you have seasonal fluctuations in your visitation and your resident base. But the population section, looking at the existing population, future characteristics and trends, can use to inform a needs assessment of what types of parks, facilities, and services may be needed and how to invest in them. And so then there's also a section on parks and recreation organization, and it is a section that outlines a dozen or so types of financial and technical assistance resources that the community can go after, but it also characterizes aspects of recreation organization, budgeting, and I can say that just in speaking to organization of recreation, I think I've already mentioned it, but the volunteerism that occurs within the recreation environment seems significant to me. The work of the board, but it's clear that there's lots of other interested people who are paying attention to recreation and contributing where they can. And so putting that getting people to collaborate, putting different efforts together, that's a big effort. So then there's a section on recreation programs, and we discussed the various user groups within the community as well as groups that contribute to recreation. And I thought I had a little bit more to say on parks and recreation programs, but also we talk about the summer recreation program, and the community, I think, should be commended for its summer recreation program. Our estimate in that study is that you're getting, considering the number of kids who are participating and the cost of the program, that it's like about $3.50 an hour per child to operate that program, which seems pretty darn cost effective to me. And the recreation program section talks about ways to improve and advance service programs both within the summer and winter recreation programs. It talks about the possibility of developing an actual curriculum for your summer program as a way to advance the health and wellness and emotional and intellectual as well as physical development of the kids who participate in the program. But it also talks about even the notion of maybe expanding the program by a day. And then there's a section, I talked about that we looked at the population trends within the community, but then there's actually a section on service standards where we look at different types of parks, like community and neighborhood parks, linear parks, special parks, like the Bel Air Lake facility, but there's others. And then we actually develop service standards where we look at each type of recreation facility and how the community might consider sort of dealing with each of those topics. Examples, there's a tennis court, one tennis court in Pine Hill. The community, in a sense, if you look at population with a tennis court that cannot function and cannot be used, you're deficient in a tennis court. Not to mention the fact that the tennis court in Fleischmann's, or tennis courts in Fleischmann's, were devastated by the flooding in 2011. So a recommendation is to rehabilitate, and it's a priority recommendation to rehabilitate the tennis court in Pine Hill within Smith Park. Other examples, to continue to maintain and rehabilitate the basketball courts, your bat ball field at Glenbrook Park, to continue to invest in and I think expand the offerings within the playgrounds, and then also to sustain your field's capacity because you have tremendous response to the soccer fields, for example, at Emerson. And but those are, in a sense, short-term items that there's no guarantee that the community will have long-term access to a resource like